Should we go ahead and start? I feel like I'm at the police department open house a couple days ago with the, but why don't we go ahead and take roll and call the meeting to order.
All right, Dan Cater.
Here.
Scott Gergen. Lisa Hadeen.
Here.
Kyle Latch.
Here.
Teresa Mose here. Vince O'Brien.
Here.
Russ Roloff.
Here.
Superintendent Collins.
Here.
And we have a slight change to the agenda.
They're just gonna close the meeting right at the end for teacher negotiations update.
And with that minor change, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to approve the minutes of the April 22nd board meeting.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. And a motion to approve the bills payable.
I'll move to pay the bills.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Any opposed? Motion passes. And now we have the good news.
And I wouldn't skip to United Way, but I think it's good to give recognition to these other individuals, and I don't think they were planning on being here tonight. But I think it's always a great opportunity. I know that not all board members can get to all of our events, and because this is taped and televised, it's very worthwhile to mention their names. But Carrie Jagger was recognized as Education Minnesota Hastings Teacher of the Year, and she was also recognized at the high school at the scholarship banquet and the academic recognition she hosted as well. And for those of you who know, and I know that United Way knows Carrie very well, does an outstanding job with Hastings Reads, and she's led that for the last 10 years, and just a great month, not only for our community, but our school as well. So congratulations to Carrie and all the hard work that she does for our school district and for our community. And then last week as well, Lori Marsh was recognized by Intech. Intech sponsors the Employee of the Semester, as we all know, and they also are given recognition to Employee of the Year, and they're going to give recognition to Teacher of the Year this year as well, and they're going to do that at our Welcome Back in August. And with that, not only do they give gift certificates, but they give cash too, and that's always, in the government world, we don't see that often, so that's very nice. And Lori Marsh, Administrative Assistant at Pinecrest Elementary, was recognized for everything that she does, her caring attitude and her smiling approach. And for those of you who were in attendance last Wednesday, you could tell why she received it. She truly cares, and her heart, you can see it on her sleeves, so congratulations to her as well. And then another very good news is great partnerships that we have, and a lot that we get back from the United Way. And so I'm here to let the United Way take it away.
Thank you, Tom.
Sorry, I didn't bring enough copies for everybody, but thanks for having us here this evening.
Everybody, okay.
We have a great turnout here also with our United Way of Hastings Board of Directors. I don't know, I think we should just kind of go around and introduce yourselves and let the school board know who you are and what role you play with United Way.
I'm Tiffany Piney. I was on the board of directors. I got hired on as full-time admin coordinator, so kind of all over helping everybody out now.
Hi, I'm Norman Rogers. I work for 3M Company in Cottage Grove, and I'm on the board of directors.
Good evening, I'm Brian Schaefer, Chief of Police, and also a United Way board member of the Allocations Committee.
Hi, I'm Liz Dickinson, and I'm one of the board members and co-chair of the marketing committee with Norm.
I'm Romy Asperger. I'm a nurse with Health Partners, and I'm on the board.
Good evening, I'm Dawn Johnson, and I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, and I am on the board and the allocations committee.
Hi, Tony Alonji. I am on the board, I'm on the city council, and I work for the state of Minnesota.
We also have some other representatives here tonight that we asked to attend, and these are some people that are going to prosper from the funding that we're going to give to various programs with the school district. Could you introduce yourselves too?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Sarah Lawrence, and I work with Hastings Community Ed, and I also serve as an AmeriCorps Promise Fellow at the middle school. And I'll be receiving on behalf of the Summer Wedge program.
Great.
And I'm Mark Suzik. I'm the middle school principal. I'm very happy to be here as a proud supporter of the Hastings Area United Way.
I'm George Pachulis. I'm director of our OASIS program, and I'm also very happy to be here. Thank you very much for your generous donations.
I'm Joe Beatty. I teach field biology at the high school. Also very thankful for the funding. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Joe. And normally we would have the president of our board of directors up here talking, but he's wearing another hat tonight, Russ Roloff, for the school board, which we're very excited to see him on the school board too. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time for your agenda tonight. But you know, it's really important for people to realize that we're such a small organization in Hastings. We're looking to grow. We have about a $300,000 budget that we hope to grow. And we always have a tough time when it comes to the allocations process. We would love to be able to fund all the requests for the amount that they're requesting, but unfortunately, you know, we have to make some tough decisions. This year with our allocations process, we were very fortunate enough to have some strategic planning done ahead of time, and that planning really helped us make those decisions because we do want to focus more on youth in our community. We found through informal surveys and other information that that's what this community is wanting us to do, is to focus our efforts and our resources on youth. So we have a lot of talented people that are helping us out and a lot of great partnerships with the school district. And we just want to improve the lives of all youth in the community. The handout that I gave to the school board just highlights the funding that we're going to be able to provide to the school district this year, and it's in the amount of $30,500. That is actually nearly a third of the money that we give out to other groups and other organizations through our allocations process. So that's a pretty big chunk of change when it comes to our allocations and what other organizations are getting too. On the sheet, I've listed out the programs. Community education, the early childhood program, that's the scholarships. Community education, disabilities program. Hastings High School, a new program this year that we're funding, and very happy to do so. Field biology, vocational training at the middle school and the high school. The OASIS program, which is a phenomenal program at the middle school, and the new program, Summer Wedge. One of the things that United Way is doing is really partnering with other organizations as much as we can. And through our allocations process, we were able to partner with 3M in Cottage Grove. It also helps to have someone on allocations from 3M Cottage Grove and on our board of directors. But Norm really, you know, stepped up and took it upon himself to approach his leadership and find out if there were opportunities to partner with grants. And we were able to do that for the field biology program. So 3M Cottage Grove wonderfully has matched that grant. As I was putting this information together today for tonight, I started looking at all of the other educational funding that we do in the community. We do funding for other organizations doing educational initiatives like 360 Communities, the Partners for Success program, and then I have a whole list of others. And when I looked at the total amount that we are giving out as a small organization, it's nearly $100,000 that we are looking to impact the community. And that's really our tagline today. We want to impact the community. We don't want to just give out funds to give out funds. We want to make a difference. And so that's what we're doing. And we're really, really pleased that we have such good support with our school board. And it's exciting to be giving out funds this time of the year. We wouldn't be able to do that though without the generous support of our community. So, you know, we all benefit when people give to United Way of Hastings. We'd like to present the school board with our big check in the amount of the funded amount, $30,500, and take a picture if we could with Vince and other school board members if possible.
Yeah. Why don't we all come up?
Should we jump around that?
Yeah,
The big
that
check?
would be great.
The big check.
I don't know if we can get all of our board members in, but I'd love to.
Thank you to all of you for coming, because for you to even be here tonight, in addition to all the other things that you have going on in your lives, families and professional lives,
Yeah.
we really appreciate it. This is a tremendous show of support for the United Way, and we very much appreciate your contributions. I think maybe we should have had the $95,000 amount, because those other dollar figures do support. The largest item on there is the children's literacy, and of course, that's incredibly important.
Yes.
Thank you all very, very much.
Absolutely. We could need a couple more board members in there, and then we'll snap it.
Sure.
Some people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Harris and Dan.
Yeah.
We've got a built-in
Okay.
back row.
If everybody can see me, I can see you. Okay, here we go, on 3. If Tim could maybe move to the
Nope.
I'm not shy as you.
No.
All right, on 1, 2, 3, here we go. Perfect. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And again, you do impact kids' lives very, very much, and we appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Managed to do that without anyone bumping the camera.
Yeah, we know of. The person in the room knows.
Yeah.
Have a good night, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Tiffany.
Well, under the superintendent's report, I was hoping that by now I would have had a little update from MDE on a legislation that is settled and where we're headed. But I think that by now everybody in the state of Minnesota knows that Governor Dayton did veto. We've seen a lot of the cards that have been laid out on the table. I think some good news from the cards that have been laid out on the table is that both the Senate and the House did agree on 1.5% and 2% on the formula. That's what they brought forward. Now, of course, there's still some negotiating, and who knows what's going to shake out. And we all know that Governor Dayton has said that he was going to veto anything that didn't have the 4-year-old program or a modified 4-year-old program. So we're just going to have to sit back now and stay tuned and wait, and just for you as board members to know how this potentially could impact us as a school district. If there is a shutdown, who knows when they can pull together, because we know that the Capitol is under renovation now, and where are they going to meet? But if MDE shuts down, that is an impact to us. We can't get information that we need for our audit. So as we have auditors lined up to come in here this summer, we can't pull and get them the information that they're going to need. If MDE is shut down, we don't get our payments for special education and the revenue that we typically get. Now for us, because we do have a fund balance, would we have to borrow more or not? Early on, the answer is probably no, but picture the school districts in the state of Minnesota that are strapped, and they rely heavily on that revenue to come in. Another thing that it impacts, a lot of school districts right now are heading into teacher negotiations. How do you sit down and have teacher negotiations when you really don't know your funding based on what? So those are really the 3 big impacts of potentially the government shutdown and where we're headed. And who knows, maybe over the next 3 days they'll get things knocked out. But again, I think good news, there is some focus on 4-year-old program, which I do believe down the road there should be more of a focus on 4-year-old program. And we do know that there's the 1.5% and 2%. Kim and I based our financial projections off of 1.5 and 1.5. So when we came to you back in December and we looked at our budget, we said well, we believe we're gonna be about 1.1 million over budget. We're basing it off of getting 1.5 and 1.5. And that's also without any retirements in that budget. And I think as most of you know, anybody who was at our retirement and recognition banquet, we had many more retirements this year than what we were projecting. So that is going to help that budget as well. So in a nutshell, I was hoping, I was optimistic when I put this together last week, hoping that we'd have a settlement and a little bit of solid news for you, but we're just gonna have to sit back and wait and see now. The replacement for Kyle's board position, I believe that we have later on in the agenda. As most of you, I believe all of you know, as you read my information out to you as board members and to our district as a whole. Kyle went through the interview process and we selected him as our next principal at JFK, so now we have to politely kick him off the school board. And so now for you as a board, what does that mean for a replacement? By law, we do have to look to replace. My recommendation to you as a board, and I'd like to have just a little bit of discussion on it, but we went through an interview process. I don't remember exactly who was on the interview process. You asked for applicants. Russ was one of those applicants. We did that just a little while back with Angie McGinnis. My recommendation would be that committee go back to that pool of candidates and pick somebody then to fill in for Kyle for the next 5 to 6 months. I can't remember mathematically how many months it is, but how do you feel about that as a board?
Tim, to be clear, the reason you're saying 5 or 6 months is because the question is, after the election, would that replacement be replaced? No? You go all the way
They take
through
over
the
the
year?
first Monday in January.
Okay, well then it would be 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, 6 or 7 months.
It's different than.
It's
a
different than-
situation. That'll be a special election.
Well, speaking.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it was
Yeah,
more than
because
2 years
yes.
Kyle's will
Okay, I
be filled
understand.
as a regular seat.
Kyle's was gonna end 4
Yep.
years, and that's
Totally
still has
get it.
2 more years. Vince?
Speaking on behalf of the interview committee, I did have an opportunity to speak with Scott before this meeting, and he and I both strongly agreed that there was someone who was a clear consensus choice.
I would agree.
Yeah. I'm glad Kyle agrees. I didn't ask him because he's sort of in a transition role, but, yeah. And we both, and we three feel that person would probably be a very good choice if they were willing to step into the role, if that helps the rest of the board decide.
No, I think it does help. You know, I wasn't on the committee. I honestly have no idea of who you may be referring to because I didn't know who the other candidates were. But yeah, I think that if the consensus of that committee was that there was another great candidate, you know, and we're not going to want to take an exhaustive amount of time and process on, you know, I mean, 7 months is still very important, but I mean, it is a short amount of time, and we don't want to.
Teresa, are you comfortable with going that process? Kyle, would you be comfortable? Russ?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Vision 2025 update review, again, because we're being televised and not everybody was everybody there? I don't remember.
No.
Yep, okay. We had a good meeting up at the high school. Again, I believe it's fulfilling a great, I don't want to maybe say the word process, but the opportunity for community members to come together with board members, to come together with administrators, parents, residents, and have the opportunity to find out a little bit about what's going on and to just share some of their thoughts, concerns. And Sherry Press to help us lead it again. At some point today, she sent me a recap. I haven't even had a chance to look at it. I did forward it to Vince. And Vince and I will look at that recap. I'll also forward it to you as board members of what she recapped. And then I think that night we said that we'd probably then pull back together an advisory team and we'd look at that and say, what are our next steps? So again, thank you for board members, the community. We had a lot of administrators there, we had teachers there. And of course, we'd always love more. We'd love 150 to 200 people, but we know lives are busy as well, and as it rolls and as word spreads, we'll get more people there, so.
I couldn't believe how great the turnout was. It was a beautiful night. I thought, oh, no one's going to show up for this. They all have gardening to do.
You were hoping for rain?
Yeah, it'd be easier sitting there if it was pouring out.
Just want to share about the STARS program. The STARS program is a program that we brought back. It's in its second year here. And it's a program for students who are typically between the ages of 18 and 21. And we've got a program here in Hastings, and we have a program at 917. And there's some pluses and minuses to both of the programs. Right now, the STARS program is currently located at the Tilden Community Center. And we've had some discussion as our early childhood special ed needs are increasing there. And as we're hoping that we continue to strengthen our preschool program and get more numbers in our preschool program there, that we might have to have them find a different space. And so we've been talking about that. We've been looking at some potential spaces. One of the sites that we're looking at right now is the Curriculum Center. We're going to take a step and look at our curriculum. Our curriculum center down by JFK, at one time it was a kindergarten room, at one time it was an art room. It's been a curriculum center. It's been a space that we've used in multiple of ways. So we're stepping back and saying, how often do we use that? Out of so many days in a year, how many hours are we actually in there? So would it be better for the STARS program to go there? We had Wold come down and just do a quick walkthrough for handicapped accessible and some other things there. It probably, if we were going to bring students in there now, whenever you transition now back to students, you have to bring up to code. It was somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000 if we're going to bring it up to code. And the other thing that we want to do there then is create a living type setting where there's a washer and dryer there, where there's a dishwasher there, where there's a kitchen table, and so students can start working on skills that they're going to need when they have some independent living. So I'm just throwing that out there that we're just lightly looking at that. I hope that anybody who's watching this isn't saying, well, we're going there for sure. I just wanted to let you know that we have the space situation of what we believe Tilden Community Center will be used as long-term, and at the STARS program, it is successful. Some parents do want their students and their children there, and so what can we do to make it the best educational experience for the lifelong skills that they're going to need? So at this time, don't know for sure, but we're just looking at it.
Tim, I have a question. If they do move there, will they be the only kind of residents of that building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would really help the program.
Yes, Dave Hageman was pretty excited about what we could all do there. And then what probably would happen then is this district office space would get more used as then our curriculum type. If you had to have a meeting, we'd use this room, we'd use that room, we'd use other space. Now, could we have sometimes we bring in 40 teachers to the curriculum center. Not all the time, but once in a while we do. But we know we've got a lot of space elsewhere where we could do that as well. ELL program at JFK Elementary. As our French teacher at the high school has resigned her position, and as we've restructured staff to go there, and as Tracy Paskey has resigned her position for Spanish, now Leslie Burgess, who had been Spanish, transitioned to ELL. She's going to go back to teaching Spanish at the high school. Now we have an ELL opening, and we've been looking at our numbers and where they're at. And one of the things that we've been looking at, and when we went and talked to some parents, we have 3 students at JFK Elementary. We have approximately 16 at Pinecrest Elementary. When you can have 2 or 3 students in the same 3rd grade classroom, That's more helpful than having one student in a third grade classroom at JFK. And we don't like to get into transportation and busing if we don't have to. But we felt for those 3 children, the better program would be to have them at either Pinecrest or McAuliffe. It just so happens that those 3 students, they have older siblings that come to the middle school. So already we're transporting to the middle school their older sibling. And so Diane Smith met with the 3 students and their parents and talked about, we're not going to force you if you don't want to. We're just telling you our program. And of course, it definitely helps them for our staffing that we don't have to have somebody travel to JFK Elementary. But the parents, after meeting with Diane Smith and hearing about the strengths of the program and being able to be in a class with another student that would be getting the same services, said, yes, that would be better. That's what I would want for my child. The danger in doing this is what happens if come August 10th, 5 families move into JFK. Then we'd probably, we wouldn't want to then transport another 5 out of JFK. What would we do? We'd cross that bridge at that time. We'd see what grades they are in. We could go back to those 3 families and say, hey, we've all of a sudden we had 5 or 6 students move in. Now we do believe we'll have a program here. What would your preference be? But I just wanted to let you know as a board that we've had that discussion. And for 2 reasons, we're looking to have those students go to Pinecrest. We believe it's better for them, and we believe staffing-wise it's better and it's a better model. So I'm thankful that the parents, if the parents would have said to me, no, Tim, we don't want to go, we said, okay, that's fine. We're not going to make you move into a situation that you don't, but I think it is best for both, so.
Do they have the option to stay there? Like, let's say we did get 5 kids at JFK, would they have the option to go through Pinecrest?
Yes,
Or-
I would leave that option because I feel like we've talked to them and we've already granted it.
Right.
They now know who their teacher is. They've set up,
So it wouldn't be a year to year.
Right.
They're committed if they want.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Moving to the action items, the first item is a motion to approve a resolution for membership in the State High School League. That resolution was sent out in the packet in Dropbox.
I'll make the motion with the suggesting that the reading get waived.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
You really need to be a member of the Minnesota State High School League or your high school teams can't participate in the state tournament.
That was enough of a reading for me.
Yep.
You formed your opinion.
Any other discussion? This one requires a roll call vote.
All right, Dan Cater.
Yes.
Scott Gergen. Lisa Hadeen.
Yes.
Kyle Latch.
Yes.
Teresa Mose, yes. Vince O'Brien.
Yes.
Russ Roloff.
Yes.
And a motion to approve the gift from McGraw-Hill for Superintendent Collins to attend the Literacy Symposium, June 14th through 17th.
And this is a first time ever action item in my career because well, number one, usually you don't get offered that they'll pay for you for airfare and motel in the education world. And number two, the few times that they have done it over the years, there's a gift law where a superintendent can't accept gifts because I might buy LearnPads then or iPads because somebody takes me golfing. And so that's the intent of the law. So the law is that I can't accept that gift, but you as a board can say, McGraw-Hill, we're going to accept that conference and we are going to send Superintendent Tim Collins to it. It's a literacy symposium, and again, I think in 21 years of being a superintendent, it's only the second time that I've been offered to where they pay for the airfare and the motel.
The dates are kind of odd. It starts on the Saturday.
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday, you're
Yeah.
right. Yep. That's,
Where do you get to go?
California.
Could have had that in winter.
The desert.
I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And now the wellness policy.
We had a reading of it at our work session. And like I said, it was an interesting policy. We've had a lot of discussion with our administrators, and I'm satisfied with the core of the policy. And I think we went through most of it at our last work session, so I'm recommending that somebody make the motion to approve it.
Wouldn't this officially, though, be our first reading, or?
I think it was
I think it was
regular
a-
one.
Yeah, it was
Is that
a regular
regular?
meeting.
Okay.
We had our first
board
reading.
meeting.
Then that's a second reading. Okay.
I won't bore you with all my hypotheticals again. They were well answered last time.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion to approve the following insurance rates for 2015, 2016. There's some interesting numbers in the increase-decrease column.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, and Kim knows more about this, but I shared in the email with you that one of the decreases in the agency fee area was because, I don't know what size baseball bat that Kim used, but she, yeah, she just made a few comments to them that why are we not seeing a decrease there, and really wasn't expecting anything, and then they came back with a decrease. And then the MISS program for property and liability, like I said, even though we have a 6.3% increase there, that dollar amount of $149,000 is still less than what we were paying 2 years ago when we transitioned to the MISS program. So we also knew that when we were doing our budget projections, we knew that this was one of the things that was going to be helping us too. And so when I outlined how we were going to get to that 1.1 million, I said that we're pretty confident that we're going to save about $100,000 on the workers' comp. Then I said that I felt we'd get to 5 retirees, and then we'd do a little bit of downsizing and then use a board, said okay, and then we'll spend down the rest by $750,000. So it came true on Kim's projections, the savings, and so that's good news as well. So I'm recommending that the board approve the insurance rates for the upcoming school year.
Make the motion.
Second.
Kim, is the workers' compensation decrease of 31% just a random thing that based on occurrences and claims, so that we have just as much opportunity and chance of it being a 31% increase next year?
It's always based on a 3-year
Yeah.
average.
So, I mean, next time around, it could easily be an increase, yeah. Okay. And thank you very much for using the baseball bat on them.
Well, I wanted to hit his target, so I could be right.
For those of you watching, it was a 20% decrease that Kim was able to negotiate in that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The 2015-2016 non-contract rate of pay schedule, which was attached. We have a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then some increases in FTEs.
Erica Peterson is actually French.
Okay. Yeah, Erica Peterson is listed as Spanish, but she's going to be taking over part of the French program, so that should be noted. But then again, as I shared with you in a letter to you as a school board, part of these increases are that we have more early childhood special ed numbers than we've had in the past. And you can look at that as a good thing, bad thing. You know, the good news is that we're identifying, we're getting to students early. But the bad thing is that there's some costs that go with that increase. And so part of this is Dave Haveman and Amy Berge recommending to meet those caseloads. And then another part of it is, as Dave's, we've had a lot of retirees resignations, and special education world, and we've had some part-time contracts, and Dave is just doing a lot of maneuvering and making some people be full-time, where in the past they were part-time, and that's part of this as well. So I'm recommending approval.
A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, the classification and corresponding position description for 3 positions.
When Patty Schaaf retired, whenever we retire, I go to people and say, do we want to hire back the same position? Do we want to look at things differently? Do we want to go to a tech integration? You know, what do we need? And then at the same time, Melanie Haugen said to me, Tim, her job has really increased and has changed from when we hired her, 10 to 15 years ago. We should really look at those job descriptions and responsibilities. So then Melanie signs it off, Patty signs it off, we send it to Kim, and we look at the job description and the duties. I was told that, yes, Tim, we do want a similar position. We wouldn't be able to survive at the high school if we didn't have somebody who was doing all the infrastructure work that she needs. So we do need this type of position. So after we looked at the responsibilities, the job description, it does go to a computer tech 2. It doesn't change the pay of it. That computer tech 2 is still in the same pay grade that what it was. It just more clearly defines what some of those job duties and responsibilities are. The next 2 then tie into community education. I think I shared with you that Mary O'Brien has been in discussion with me for at least 9 months now. And we've been talking about what she believes that she needs, and then I come in on, well, what can the budget handle? What you need, what can you financially support? And Abby Byton Carlson always did do some hours. She was the person that was in the youth development coordinator position. And then Zena, I say names because I assume you guys know these names, but maybe you don't. Zena, in her role, part of it was adult enrichment, part of it was youth development, and Mary wants more of a presence in the youth development, so she wants more hours to go to that position. What would that position do? More time with the AmeriCorps program, more time with service learning, more time with any youth initiatives that we would have in the high school and or in the community. Then that also means that Zena's job has to change a little bit because part of her duties were that. And so it is an increase to so Zena then gets the youth pulled away from her and marketing added to her position. So in the end, after lengthy discussions with Mary O'Brien over the last 9 months, I believe that her budget can sustain it. And so then I said that I would bring it forward as a recommendation. So then what Mary has to do is the same process. She has to outline what the job duties are, what the responsibilities are. She submits it. Kim and I look at it. We question it. We send it back. They list again. And then we look at do we send it out for an outside evaluation, et cetera, or do we believe that it's in the same grade, et cetera. So we go through that same process. No change in grade for these either. But I am letting you know as a board that there are added hours through the community ed budget, which it's a standalone budget. It's not dollars that you as a board can technically access, but you and I are both to oversee and make sure that it's spent in the best interest of the community. So I'm recommending all 3 of these positions get approved and as outlined and with recognition that no change in the grade.
How often do we still have the comp worth evaluation of a third of the positions? Is that still every year? Is it different? Is it
We do a fourth
No.
every 4
Yeah,
years.
I think there's 4 columns.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then anytime somebody resigns, especially if it's an individual job within a description, or if the job changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get back to where you're trying to do a whole study all over again.
Were hours added to both of the programs for community ed?
Now Zena still kept her same number of hours.
Okay.
and then there are hours added to,
The youth development.
yeah, which is Sarah Lawrence is now in that position.
Now, at one point, there was a book that had all the original Comporth. Do one of you have the book with all the updated? Electronic, okay, good.
I don't.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions on that one? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
I did have a question. One of the and it's just in the title, the facility coordinator falls out of the title of that middle position.
Yeah.
Is that role still, I mean,
think
obviously
so.
that role still exists, but
I think.
It doesn't though.
I
not
think
in
Mary
this.
O'Brien.
When Bob Lawrence was
yeah,
here,
I think she is too, but
that was part of his.
that was a carryover from a previous.
Right, and we
Okay.
never got it out of the description when
Okay.
we took it out of their contract.
Okay, good, thank you.
Mary would like to add that to somebody.
Well, I am sure that's true.
The custodians. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and a motion to approve 3 long-standing individuals' retirements.
A motion.
Second.
21, 37, and 27 respective years for each one of these people. We really appreciate all their service. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What would happen if anyone ever opposed a retirement?
Yeah.
We need a lot of people to do
Yeah.
it.
It'd be nice, you could vote no, but.
There's still gonna be more than one.
Yeah.
All those, it passed, so
It
we're
passed,
good. And next up, the resignation of 5 individuals.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to rescind the National Board Certification Stipend for an individual.
Yeah, this one is a little bit tricky. In our master agreement with our teachers, we have a section of lists the acronyms for National Board Certification for social workers, for OT, for PT, teachers, et cetera. We've had several teachers in the last few years, but it's very rare to get national board certified. So Kristen is an OT that we hired this year, and when we go through the hiring process, they list what their certifications are, et cetera, and it goes through Deanna and myself, and we look at that, and they also list their experiences elsewhere, and we determine, well, is that an experience that we give credit to in our school? If you worked in a preschool, we don't give you credit then when you become a kindergarten teacher. So there's this whole thing that we try to be fair and equitable on. And in this situation, national board certification and the OT, and then I guess for lack of a better word, we eventually found out down the road that it wasn't to no fault of anybody, it wasn't the national board certification that they needed to get that level of accreditation. So now we've had to go back to Kristen and say that this national board certification isn't equal to what we've given in other years. So we just acted on this a few months ago when we hired her, but now we need to rescind that, and we've had that conversation with her. So I met with Dan and Vince prior to this as we're heading into teacher negotiations, and I said that one of the things that when we go through the contract, we're going to meet with the teachers and say, could you please go through these acronyms again, et cetera. We know that 16 years ago or 20 years ago when these were placed in there, that's what they were then, but what are they now? And help us filter through so that we don't get to this situation again. So with that, I'm asking you to rescind the stipend at this time.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just, carry over from our discussion earlier. I'm going to be voting yes, because I do agree that this is not the same. It's a apples and oranges thing, but I would really ask that we go and review then all the non-teacher national certifications, whether it be speech language and OT, whatever, and figure out if they should have a stipend or not. You know, I mean, just an evaluation, so that we can encourage people to get
I think the
those-
example that you brought up to bring a little bit more clarity to it, you said that if an individual has this certain certification, we get medical third-party reimbursement because of that. You question then whether or not they should get more because of that.
Absolutely, I think we should be encouraging them to do that. It's in our best interest, their best interest, the student's best interest.
So that was an example
Yep.
that, I'm not saying I totally agree with you, but.
All I'm asking is that for the discussion.
Yeah. Well, you're on the teacher negotiations
Yep.
committee, so.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to approve leaves for 3 individuals.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And a motion to approve the employment of some individuals. 7 people.
Sure, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And next up, a motion to approve the resignation of Kyle Latch from District 200's Board of Education effective May 20th.
And I guess indirectly, this will be saying that you are going to make a motion to accept his hire come June. I just want to state that publicly so that Kyle can just say,
In an odd turn of events.
I don't see,
Tim, what happened in June?
I don't see any conditions on this motion.
No,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say, Lisa and I were just talking 4 years ago when we were running for the school board. It just seems surreal to think 4 years later, sitting here and having that be placed on as an agenda item. But very appreciative of the community for the opportunity to serve on the school board. Very thankful for the board members I worked with and administrators I've worked with the last 3.5 years. And I look forward to working in the district in a different capacity. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have a number of very important dates coming up, including graduations, meeting with the administrators, and then we need a motion to close the meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna close for negotiation.
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I'll move that we close the meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Why don't we just pop next door? Should only take